Hey. Alright, yo, so the New York Knicks have been amongst a lot of headlines recently in the NBA world. Obviously, just pulled off the trade for OG Anunoby, dealing away RJ Barrett and Emmanuel quickly. But in addition to that, one of their star players, Julius Randle, has been playing, in my opinion, probably the best stretch of basketball in his entire career across the past month or so. In fact, let's take a quick look at Julius Randle's season, because across these first 36 games, if you split it pretty much down the middle, it is a tale of two seasons so far for the former All-Star. During his first 19 games of the season, you can see he was averaging 20 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists on some pretty gross efficiencies with 41, 28, 70 shooting splits. But if you then look at the last 17 games that he has played, he is up to 28 points, 8 rebounds, almost 4 assists, and the shooting efficiencies are much better with splits of 53, 30, and 83. Now, the thing that catches my eye in these stats, outside of the obvious 8-point per game increase that he has seen, is just the shot diet that he's been getting that point per game increase on. First, you'll notice that he is taking 2 more field goal attempts per game, which might not seem like a lot, but in sample sizes that are sized like these, an extra 2 shots a game adds up pretty quickly. The same also goes for the 3-point attempts. Even though he is only taking 1 less 3 a game, it is again a good decision to do so, considering the fact that he has been about a 30% 3-point shooter for the entire season. I know last year he was randomly chucking a lot of threes, was shooting a career high 8 3-point attempts, so good to see him finally starting to cut back on that and make smarter decisions. And then the free throw attempts are also going up by about 1.5 per game. He's also hitting them at a 13-point percentage point increase, which again, in addition to the increase from 41 to 53% from the field in general, all of these things come together to make that 8-point per game increase that has Julius Randle playing great basketball in the past month. So before we get into the specifics of Julius Randle and just how he is playing good basketball right now, some quick thoughts on the OG trade. I think it was good for the Knicks in the long run. I was very adamant on not agreeing with the trading away Emmanuel quickly part, but in the New York Knicks front office's defense, they weren't going to pay Emmanuel quickly for whatever reason. They had to not do so. So it did make sense for them to get whatever they could in a trade for him, even though in my professional opinion, they should have just paid him and held on to him because he's going to be a really good player. Outside of that, getting rid of RJ, I'm fine with. He just was not it for this New York Knicks team. Bringing back someone like OG Anunoby, who can legitimately defend 1 through 5 on the basketball court, get rebounds and space the floor. Just such a better fit for this Knicks team. And there are even plenty of stats to back up those points. Albeit a small 4-game sample size, but since acquiring OG Anunoby, looking at team advanced stats, the Knicks are 7th in the NBA in offensive rating at 120.8. They are 1st in the NBA in defensive rating at 103.1, and they are 2nd in net rating at 17.7. All tremendously good stats, especially considering the whole, every NBA champion is top 10 in offensive rating, defensive rating, net rating, that whole thing. So, but to drive this point home even deeper, if you look at the Knicks season-long rankings in these same stats, they are 9th in offensive rating with 117.7, 14th in defensive rating at 114.2, 9th in net rating at 3.5. So again, the goal with these offensive defensive net rating stats is you want to try to aim to be top 10 in each of them as a team, and then you're considered good, or in great cases, a title contender. And this current rendition of the New York Knicks, their offense has surprisingly been pretty stable in recent years since acquiring Jalen Brunson. He has been awesome. I know there was the whole Becky Hammond discourse that I am not going to speak on, even though I will say points were made in that argument. Regardless, the Knicks' regular season offense, I should specify, has looked solid in recent years. The defense, on the other hand, has not been good, which again goes to the point that trading RJ and swapping him out for someone like OG Anunoby, again, they're first in defensive rating since acquiring him. I think you'll see that 14th ranking in defensive rating season long continue to go near to the top 10. Anyway, back to Julius Randle. Denny Avdia of the Washington Wizards had a good quote about Randle after they played, I think it was yesterday or it was recently, I don't know when this video is going to come out. But he was asked about Julius Randle because Randle had another big game, and he pretty much said that Randle, like a lot of other elite bigs, is finding his way on offense and putting the defense in tough spots where they have to either foul him or give up an easy look, and then the fact that, Randle is using his body and his physical strength to get to these spots and get to the foul line, and they're all very good points that are true. I mentioned at the top of the video how Randle is settling for less and less threes and getting to the free throw line more, and again, the tape backs it up. He is working through the post a lot, especially in the game I watched of the Knicks playing the Bulls from this past week. They were feeding him in the post almost every other possession. And this is easily Randle's strongest area on offense. He can play bully ball, he can drive to the rim, he is starting to knock down that little mid-range pull-up or fadeaway out of the post a bit more. And with him scoring the ball so well over this past month, it has led a lot of opposing defenses to send doubles and occasionally even triple teams at him. And this is the area of Randle's game where I have felt like he's had a lot of improvement, in that he is getting much better at passing out of the post, passing out of these double teams, and kicking out to open shooters. Because despite the fact that the Knicks really don't have that many great ISO offensive players, which is rare for today's NBA, they have Brunson, who's awesome, they have Randle, who can go get you some buckets, but outside of that, especially after trading Barrett and quickly and getting back OG, there really isn't anyone else on this roster that you can give the ball to and say, go get us a bucket, and it's not likely. So because of that, there's a lot of stress on Randle and Brunson to create opportunities for their teammates, which in these past couple weeks, they've been doing a really good job of. Again, back to the point, Randle is getting double teamed, triple teamed in the post, and he's doing a great job of kicking out the shooters. The Knicks on the season are top 10 in three-point shooting percentage, which is a necessity if they want to maintain a top 10 offense. Again, just considering the fact that they don't have a lot of players who can apply pressure to the rim and go get their own shot. So again, the fact that Randle is starting to really put things together as a passer is just as important, if not more important, in my opinion, than him taking a leap as a scorer. And despite the fact that, again, Randle is below 30% from three-point range on the season so far, he's still someone that you have to respect and put a hand up when he does go for those shots. He can still hit you at that sidestep 3 and ISO that he got really good at in recent seasons. Overall, I think this is the most complete that Randle's offensive game has looked, again, in his entire career. And it's another reason why I think that this is the best stretch of basketball he's ever played in his career. He's even been buying in on defense in this recent stretch and for most of the season. I thought his best play of the game from that Chicago Bulls game was this one play here where he reads Patrick Williams making the entry pass perfectly, jumps the passing lane, and he could have just taken the playoff from there, but instead you can see him hustle his ass off down the court, runs down, sprints through the lane, goes to the rim, gets the pass back, and gets a really nice layup in transition. And this is simply just an effort level that I feel like we haven't seen from Julius Randle in quite some time. But this is how he's gonna have to play if the Knicks want to continue to see success for the rest of the season. Because once the playoffs do come around, that is where my worries for this Knicks team still reside. Jalen Brunson is certified. I trust him with my life in the playoffs. He can go out and get you 30, 40, whatever you need. But Julius Randle being the second scoring option on this team is just not gonna cut it come playoff time. I I mean, I know off the back of my head that he hasn't been great in the playoffs, but if you need yourself a good jump scare and you don't want to go watch a horror movie or something, just go take a look at Julius Randle's playoff stats page on Basketball Reference, and that will give you all the jump scares you need. He has been atrocious. And that's a big reason why I didn't see the OG trade as a huge steal for the New York Knicks. I do think it was a solid move for them, at least a move in the right direction, because again, RJ wasn't going anywhere and he had a large contract. I still don't agree with the Emmanuel Quickly part of it, but if they weren't going to pay him, then again, might as well get rid of him. OG is a great fit for this team, but the Knicks still need just another scorer or ball handler on this team that can alleviate pressure off of Randle and Brunson, because Randle is just not that guy come playoff time. And with how the current starting lineup looks, I think DiVincenzo is the obvious point of upgrade. If you got Brunson, go get another guard that can score the ball. Then you have OG at the 3, Randle at the 4, and then Hartenstein at the 5. I do really think that that's a team that could do some damage in the playoffs. They're probably not an Eastern Conference Finals team by any means, but they're going to give whatever team they play a really, really tough first round and second round if they make it that far, because the Knicks are just a grinded out team. They're not going to make it easy. And at the same time, who knows? Maybe this is finally the year that Julius Randle puts it all together. Maybe this, mid-season change in shot diet and play style is going to translate to the playoffs. And he's not jacking threes. He's getting to the free throw line, getting to the rim, setting up his teammates, and maybe it all works out and the Knicks make a good deep playoff run, but I just don't think that's going to happen this year. Again, unless they make a big move at the deadline. I don't even think they have to go get a star player like a lot of the big media outlets have been saying. Hell, I was trying to think of possible trade candidates, and I wouldn't even mind if they just went and got like a Terry Rozier for cheap just to add to the starting lineup. Brunson, Rozier. Defense might take a step back, but it'd certainly help out the offense, especially come playoff time, just getting another guy that can score and shoot the ball and just create shots for himself that isn't Julius Randle. Anyway, that's all I got for this one. Again, I'm going to give props to Julius Randle while I can, because he's been awesome in the last 17 games, last month or so. I'm still waiting on the playoffs stuff to change, but we'll have to wait and see once we get to that point this season. Outside of that, if you enjoyed the video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, all those good things. I always appreciate the support from y'all, and I'll see y'all in the next one.